当我们进入了职场之后，你会不会感到交到好朋友非常不容易？其实并不是只有交朋友，认识人也变得非常困难。所以我们在社交的时间真的不多，但是要怎么在很短的时间内更了解身边的人呢？Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. On this podcast, we talk a lot about asking better questions in a meeting, in an interview, as a way to get deeper down to the root of the problem. But asking questions is also a great way to build connections. In our episode with Vincent, he talked a lot about how to use questions to find common ground and build relationships. Recently, I found an article titled 100 Questions to Ask to Get to Know Someone Better. Now, we're not going to go through all the questions, but there are a few things that really stand out to us in terms of we always talk about getting to know someone better or building a connection as a way to understand common ground. But a lot of times we put this on hobbies or like weekend activities, but there's a lot of other things that you can build common ground with, like the way you view life, the kind of experiences you've had. So today, we want to look at a few questions that help build common ground that way.
那这个 article 其实是给我一些灵感，也就是呢，当我们在想 common ground 的时候，我们常常会想到就是一些 hobbies 啊，可能我们的周末会去做什么样的 activities， 但其实啊，你会发现过了某些年纪的人，尤其是进了职场的人，我们特别的懒。其实我们在周末也没有特别想要做什么事情。那这些 common ground 到底要怎么来找呢？那其实啊 common ground 并不代表只是你的 hobbies 而已。common ground 可能就是你怎么样经营你的人生，你对人生的价值观在哪里，你的人格是怎么样， How do you manage your life, your friendship, your relationship， 这一些东西都是所谓的 common grounds， 因为这些才是价值嘛。These are the values. 那这些才是特别重要的东西，尤其是对我们进入职场的人。So I think these questions can really help us to get to that really important part of our life and find out if this person is compatible with us.
So Sherry, you dropped this into a few categories of how we can build a better connection. And that first category I like is because this is more common to a networking situation or if you are hanging out with a new group of colleagues where maybe not everyone knows each other, but there are some common connections. So that first question is just simply, how long have the two of you been friends?
I think that's a perfectly great question. This is like an icebreaker question as well. 有的时候你进入一个团体的 situation， 那可能你跟对方一点都不熟，或者是人家他们已经是朋友了，你是等于说是一个 newcomer。那这个时候作为一个 newcomer， 其实是还蛮 nerve-wracking. You know, in that kind of situation, you don't really know what to do because they all know each other. I don't know any of them. So just simply ask, how long have you guys known each other? Or how did you guys know each other? I think that's a really good question as well.
Now, jumping out of this group situation, there's also a few categories that relate to how to get to know someone on a deeper level without asking personal questions.
Yeah.
One way to understand someone's personality a bit is to figure out how adventurous they are. So the first question in this how adventurous are you category is, what's the most remote location you have ever been to?
And I love the second question. Are you a city person or a country person?
I think that particular question really lets you dive into someone's personality and psyche.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think everyone can come up with a really good answer. 有些人可能马上讲 I'm a city person like me. I would tell you I'm a city girl all the way.
Yeah, someone likes to lie and be like, I would go glamping. I would go out into the woods.
Glamping,
no.
It's glamorous. Supposed to be glamorous. 我还是没有去过 so 但是我觉得这个问题很好。你是 city girl, you city person or a country person, or someone would just say a little bit of both so they could explain that to you. I think this is a great question just to understand.
This, gets into someone's thought process without asking them something deeply personal. For me, when I first moved to Taiwan, I lived in Chiayi. Almost everyone's like, Chiayi, would you even like living in Chiayi? Like for many Taiwanese, especially people from Taipei or Kaohsiung or Taichung, they'd be like, oh, that's so countryside. Why would you live there? But for me, I always like to give the explanation as I've always lived and grown up in college towns in the US. And I think Chiayi reminds me a lot of a college town. It's not huge, but it has everything you need. Like there's a department store, there's a lot of places to eat, there's a lot of places to go, but you don't need like 10 department stores. So it's just like that kind of mid-level. That fits me really well. So that's kind of my answer to this question.
But then right away, you will know Nick pretty well from that answer. Like 他就是一个喜欢比较简单的人 right? 他不是很喜欢太多车子啊，太多的人潮 Like you'll know right away that's like what he likes and who he is. So again, like he knows right away who I am.
Yeah, so city people, maybe they like a little bit more fast-paced life. They like a lot of options, that kind of thing. The next category that we talk about is a way that people look at friendship. So you don't necessarily have to be like, will you be my friend? What makes a good friend? But you can ask these kind of questions to get a sense of how people build relationships long-term, short-term. So the first question is, are you still close with your college friends?
That really shows how you manage friendship. And also, you could replace college with elementary school friends or junior high school friends, because that really shows if this person knows how to manage a very long-term relationship. Like, I still have my best friend from junior high school, and she's still one of my best friends. So I think you can actually tell a lot from someone by asking this question.
You can also get a strong sense of the way they look at community with this second question. Are you still friends with anyone from your hometown? So you'll also notice that when someone is from a large city or a small city, their sense of community or the way that they relate to whether it's neighbors or people close to them is the way that they will answer this question. Is this something they're very close to? Do they feel deep roots? Or is this a person who is like, I can't wait to explore the world? That tells you a bit about their personality as well.
Yeah, 我觉得大概可以了解到这个人对于这种感情，那当然感情不是说一定是 romantic， 就是 like friendship 友情啊，他是多么的重视友情，他是不是会多放一些时间或者一些 effort 在做这个，等于说是 maintain any kind of relationship. I think it takes a lot of effort and also patience for anyone to maintain a relationship for a very long time. So I think that speaks a lot about someone.
The next category is understanding how people manage life. Now, there's a few questions here that would probably look very familiar and you may ask all the time, like, what do you like to do for fun? Or what did you do this past weekend? Just getting a sense of how people live their day-to-day life. But the third question in this list, I really like from the standpoint of it tells you a bit about how people de-stress. Is this an introvert? Is this an extrovert? Is this a activity-oriented person? Is this a social-oriented person? And that question is, how do you de-stress after a tough day?
如果他今天讲说 I like to go out with a bunch of friends, just have a drinks and chat, then you probably will know that this person could lean towards extroverts because they recharge with a bunch of friends. But if this person goes like, I just want to go home, I don't want to talk, I just want to have a drink of wine by myself or do yoga on my own, then you probably know this person leans more towards introverts.
Or if someone's like, I need to go dancing. I just need to let it all out. Maybe this is someone who has a lot of creative energy that they don't get to let out. And so this is, painting or dancing. That's the way that they just kind of let all this energy flow. Where you have other people who are just like, I just watch TV and let my mind go completely blank. And this is just someone who maybe they spend too much time thinking and they just need to kind of wipe it all out.
I like the next question a lot. How do you typically celebrate your birthday and other holidays? And I usually stop at your birthday. And I think this is so important because you actually found out a lot about this person and their family, right? 有些人真的哦，他不会去庆祝他生日的。他们家可能就是没有这些习惯，你反而要他庆祝生日，对他来讲是一个困扰。但是有些人呢，家里面就非常注重这个。And then I think you'll get to know how this person's dynamic with their family as well from this really good question. So I think Nick mentioned to me early on that the family is really big on birthdays, right?
Right. So, I mean, there's an extreme where my aunts will expect like very well planned group dinners and that stuff. But even in my close family, myself and my parents, birthdays are specifically something where you share meals together. And in fact, if it's your birthday, it's other people's job to be like, hey, what do you want for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? They will either take you there or they will make it for you. And that's your request. And so that's an important thing. Even when I was gone in college, because I was born at 6:30 in the morning, for a long time, my parents thought, yeah, we'll call him at 6:30 in the morning to show him what that's like. But this is something that gets celebrated. So you can understand someone's family, you can get a sense of how they handle social situations, or you can get a sense of, you know, what birthdays or holidays means to them. Maybe there's something else in their life that they think is more important. So holidays aren't really what they celebrate. But a lot of times someone will be like, oh, I don't really celebrate birthdays, but Christmas is a big deal for us, that kind of thing.
那我觉得如果是在职场当中，你身边的同事了解一下，他可能对他的 birthday 非常的注重，那 plan a surprise little something, a birthday office lunch for this person, and that will really brighten their day. So I love this question, but I also really like the next one. So Nick, what is the next question that we should ask?
What's something you would like to learn?
That's a you question. You ask that question a lot.
I do like to ask that question because it's something where after a certain age, many of us just fall into our own habits. But no matter how old you are, a lot of times you'll see people light up when they kind of get into a new skill or when they get it. Like they've tried something for a long time and then it just kind of clicks. And they're like, ooh, that's a great thing to do. So this is something I like to ask people. And it gives you a sense of, you know, do they have any long lost dreams that they want to get into? Or is there anything that they have had their eye on for a while but haven't gone after it yet?
And I think I found my new hobby lately. If anyone bothered to ask me that question.
So, Sherry, what is something you would like to learn or has sparked your interest lately?
I actually begin to really like watching a bunch of these home decorating or interior design videos on YouTube, 或者是 Instagram 也好了。对这种居家的一些你要怎么样摆饰啊 I don't know, that's like my newfound interest. Now, so the next category is if you want to know someone on a deeper level. 那可能这个情况呢，就是你跟这个人稍微已经聊过天大概几次了，那你觉得这个人还蛮有意思的。I wanted to get to know this person a little bit better. So here are a few questions that you could ask.
The first question is quite personal, but it's a fun thing that you can do. And asking someone what their love language is. For those of you not familiar, there is a test called the 5 Love Languages. I think you can find a free version online, but it's about how people receive love. Now, this doesn't have to be romantic love. This could be family, this could be friendship, but it's mostly like how we like to receive affection. You could also replace this like jumping into someone's MBTI, which we've talked about, their social style, their strength finder. But it kind of sparks an interesting conversation when you get into people's preferences, whether it's their communication preferences, their ways of receiving love preferences, etc. This really can spark a deeper conversation.
Another question that I really like is, if you had to redo 1 year of your life, which one would it be and why?
This one is fun because it's more specific. A lot of times people ask me like, oh, if you could redo one thing, or if you could go back in the past, would you? But when you specifically lay out like 1 year of your life, you also get a sense of when someone feels a very formative time in their life, something that really shaped them or really changed their view on something. So that's usually what someone will go back. No one will be like, 1999 was really boring. Nothing happened. I would change that to be more exciting. Most of the time, people go back to like a critical moment in their life.
Like a turning point, right?
Yeah, a turning point, and then, rethink those choices a little bit. So I like the specificity of redo 1 year of your life.
Yeah, I do too. And I think this really allows you to get to know this person on a very deep level, because any turning point of people's life, it shapes their character, it shapes their career, their life, and a lot of their choices. So yeah, I really like this question.
The final question we have for this segment is, what are you most proud of? Especially in Asian culture, people don't have a lot of opportunities to talk about their achievements. It's not usually
We're not used
encouraged to like go out there and tell people what you're so proud of. But sometimes it's just nice to let people talk about something that they have achieved or something that's important to them. It gives you a sense of who they are.
Yeah, especially when you sense that 对方他可能心情有一点点沮丧，或者是他可能最近好像有点 feeling a bit stuck. 我觉得可能借由这个问题，就让他能够讲一讲自己做过什么事情，让他感到很骄傲的。我觉得，他可能心情上面有一些转换。
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this series of questions looking at how to build common ground without just diving in specifically to hobbies or other common interests, but really getting to know someone's personality a bit better. We'll leave a link to the full 100 questions in the show notes and our different categories and fun questions to get to know someone better. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.